Thank you, Brother Leonard. Appreciate it. It's truly a pleasure to be here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first, as far as I understand, Liberian Cultural Festival in Canada. I'm truly honored to be part of this auspicious occasion. You know, Liberia is a special place for all black men and our friends in the wider community. Liberia was founded in 1822 as a place to repatriate those in the diaspora back to Africa. It's a significant place, and it has a special place in the hearts of all black men who are educated and know their history. And I'm truly, truly honored, my brother, to be part of this cultural festival. You know, we have a dream today, brothers and sisters. It's called AfriCana Village and Museum. AfriCana Village and Museum is a proposed African-Canadian cultural heritage tourism destination that we're working on building on the waterfront. Toronto waterfront, I'm not sure if you're aware, is about 2,000 acres of public land, publicly owned land. So we've been working on the last 3-4 years trying to convince the government to give us 40 acres. 40 acres. 40 acres and a mule is what we've asked for. Now I'm not sure if you know the significance of 40 acres. 40 acres is what was promised to the Black Empire loyalists back in the 1700s, the mid-1700s, if they would come over to Upper Canada before the American Revolutionary War. The slave owners asked the black slaves to come over to the British side, and they would be given 40 acres and a mule if they came to Ontario, which was called Upper Canada at the time. This is prior to the American Revolutionary War in the 1770s. Needless to say, a lot of the black slaves who did come to Ontario did not get any land. Those who did get was like swampland and so forth. And they basically settled in places like Barrie, Collingwood, Aurelia, Bush, basically at the time. People don't understand, Canada only became a country in 1868. Prior to that, Ontario was basically Bush. Only on certain parts of Toronto and southwestern Ontario was actually occupied. So there's a significance number. So that's why we asked for 40 acres because it's a significant number. It's a promise that was unkept. And we're asking the Canadian government, and we're asking the province of Ontario and the city of Toronto to lease us for 99 years, 40 acres, so we can build a cultural tourism destination. Now, like I said, AfriCana Village is a proposed African-Canadian cultural heritage tourism destination and entertainment complex. We want to create 2,000 cultural jobs on the waterfront. It's about sustainable economic development. It's about empowering our people. Culture is a product. We see what Caravana does every year for this city. Caravana generates something like $500 million. That's right, folks. $500 million economic impact in 2 weeks. That's the kind of money Caravana generates for the city. It's a golden goose. Could you imagine what a year-round destination on the waterfront can do for us, leveraging our culture and our history? So if you love Africentric art, music, culture, cuisine, and history, then when you are a visitor and you come to Toronto, that's where you're going to go. We're going to have a 300-room Caribbean African-themed hotel. All the rooms will have African art. The bedspread will be Kente cloth, all African themed. So something different, it's a boutique type concept. We're also looking at a conference center that we can hold conferences. People don't know the African American tourism market is a $50 billion market. That's what African Americans spend every year on hospitality and tourism. $50 billion. My friends, if we can just capture 1% of that $50 billion, that's $500 million right there. 1%. We're not asking for 3, 4, 5 to 10%. We're saying 1% of the African American tourism spend is $500 million. We intend to have the National Museum also of African Canadian History and Culture. African Canadians have been in this country since 1604. 1604, we've been over here over 400 years. We're not just another visible minority group who just got off the boat the other day. We are actually one of the founding peoples of this country. I talked about the Black Empire Loyalists, that was in the 1700s. I'm talking about black people here in 1604. The first black man on record in Canada was a black man named Matthew da Costa. Matthew da Costa. He was the guide and interpreter for a man named Samuel de Champlain, an explorer, a French explorer. You guys may have heard about it if you went to school here. He was a French explorer. His name was Samuel de Champlain. Samuel de Champlain hired, that's right, my brothers, hired Matthew da Costa to be his guide and interpreter to explore the St. Lawrence River and to explore Quebec and certain parts of Atlantic Canada. Now, why would you hire a man to be your guide and interpreter if he wasn't there before you? He spoke the language of the Mi'kmaq Indians, and he was hired. So that tells me that he was here before Samuel de Champlain. But our history book doesn't talk about Matthew da Costa. People don't understand the Portuguese were in Africa in the 14th century. In the 1420s, the Portuguese were in Africa. So he was a black Portuguese, by the way. He was a mixed race. He was black Portuguese. That was 3 generations before Columbus sailed for the New World. 3 generations before Columbus sailed for the New World in 1492. He sailed the ocean blue. So 3 generations before Columbus sailed for the New World and discovered the so-called New World, supposedly discovered. I don't know how you can discover someplace when there are already people there, but that's another story. Okay. So Matthew da Costa, West Africans were fishing off the coast of Newfoundland, the Grand Banks, since the 10th, the 9th and 10th century. If you look at West Africa and you look at the Grand Banks, Newfoundland, you'll see that it's right across. The currents take you right across. So we've been part of this country for, let's say, for 600, 700, 800 years, but for the purpose of this conversation, we'll say 400 years, 1604, Matthew da Costa, first black man on record in this country. There were slaves in this country. Our blood and sweat helped build this country. People don't understand that there was slavery in Canada. They think it's just America. There was slavery here in Canada. So the point I'm trying to make, my brothers and sisters, we've got a long history here. Our blood and sweat. Black soldiers fought in the War of 1812, right on the waterfront here. Black soldiers, the War of 1812. Black soldiers, right Fort York, downtown there. Black soldiers fought and died, also in the Niagara Peninsula. So we're not just another minority group, visible minority. We've been here a long time. We are actually one of the founding peoples of this country. Our blood and sweat helped build this country. So when we go to the government and we go to the power brokers, we say to them, give us 40 acres so we can build a cultural heritage tourism destination that will economically empower our people. We're tired of begging people for jobs. We got to go out and create our own jobs, leveraging our culture, which is the most powerful culture in the world. Black culture is the most powerful cultural force in the world. Look at hip-hop. They're doing hip-hop in Russia, China, Japan, right? Black culture is the most powerful. It's a product. We need to save that. We need to take that product, package it, and sell it. And we invited everybody to get involved with AfriCana Village. We're going to create 2,000 cultural jobs, 500 jobs are earmarked for at-risk youth, so-called at-risk youth, in the 13 priority neighborhoods. We're going to train them in culinary arts, hospitality at George Brown, and place them there. I'm not talking about McDonald's, Joe jobs. I'm talking about starting these young youth out at maybe $17, $18, $19 an hour. Because we got to compete with the drug dealers. We've got to be able to create jobs that are sustainable, right? That the youth will want to stick around, and this is going to know that he has a vested interest in this enterprise. We want to leave a legacy for our children and our grandchildren, so that 100 years from now, they'll look back and say, hey, it was our finest hour. Our people claimed something for us. Because my great fear is that this waterfront of 2,000 acres of public land, keep in mind, brothers, it's public land. This is our land. This is our land. We need to go and claim our share for our children and grandchildren. What are they going to say to us 3, 4 generations from 100 years from now? Where were you guys when it was public land and developing the waterfront? Where were you guys? Why didn't you go and claim a little something for us? I'm not going to be in 100 years, most of us are not going to be in it, but I can hear them now. Why did you guys go and claim something for us? Why did you fight for us so we can get something? A legacy. And this is what AfriCana Village is about. It's about a legacy. The AfriCana Village, we've been working on it for the last few years. We're looking at 2015. We're hoping to get it built by 2015 in time for the Pan Am Games. We're aligned with the Pan Am Games. You know, the government will be spending billions and billions of dollars for the Pan Am Games. We're trying to convince the government to create AfriCana Village as part of a legacy project. So it's part and parcel of the billions and billions of dollars they'll be spending. They're going to be building velodrome, stadium this, and stadium that. That's fine. But why we want that when all our brothers and sisters from all over the Americas come here, that they'll come to a place that's going to have some affinity for them. Right? We're going to have a jazz bar, reggae bar, hip-hop bar, banquet halls, so that when we get married, we don't have to go rent, the Latvian center, the Hungarian hall. We're going to keep the money within our community with this project. Right? We're going to have the National Museum of Africa. We're going to have a performing arts center, the Oscar Peterson Performing Arts Center. We're going to have a Bob Marley themed restaurant. So when you get there, what it is, like, if you want Trini food, there'll be Trini food. If you want African food, there'll be African food. If you want Grenadian food, there'll be Grenadian food. The whole panoply of African art, cuisine, culture, history. It's a destination. So if you want to spend your money, come down there and spend your money. Keep your money within the community. The black community, $1 circulates once in our community before it leaves. That's why we're at the bottom of every economic ladder, because $1 only circulates once in our community. In the Chinese community, it circulates 20 times before it leaves. That's why they're wealthy and we're not. Right? So brothers, God help those who help themselves. Right? God bless the child whose God is own. This is not against anyone, right? We welcome our brothers and sisters, white brothers and sisters, Asian brothers, to come down there and join with us in our culture and share the richness of African Canadian history and culture and participate in this venture and support us as like we support other communities. So we're looking at this as an economic empowerment type of tool. We're looking at a wealth generator. We think we can generate $500–600 million a year. And what's great about it, we're going to allocate 5% of the profits to projects in our community. So if you're a young black entrepreneur and you got a great idea, forget about going to the bank. Come see us. We're going to have a venture fund, a capital venture fund that we will empower you. You can borrow money to do your project. Right? If you got, we're going to also have a black hockey museum. Right? People don't know there was a black hockey league in Canada from 1895 to 1920. Right? Okay? And so we have a long history here, my brothers and sisters. I don't want to take too much time. I just want to say that we have some cards in the front. And please take a look, take the card. We have a website called AfriCanaVillage.com. Afri for Africa. Kana is Canadian. It's a meaning of both worlds. AfriCanaVillage.com. Right? Participate. Send us an email. Get on our mailing list so we can keep you abreast of developments. This is for you. This is for the youth. This is for our community. And we need to get ourselves motivated. We need to become part and parcel of this country. And I think of the day when you'll be driving along the Queenie or the Gardner, and your son will be saying, "Dad, what's that?" And you'll be saying, "Hey, that's ours. That's AfriCana Village Museum. That's ours." We don't have one thing in this city that we can point to that we can say belongs to us. We spend billions and billions of dollars, and we don't have one thing we can point to as a monument or any kind of building or destination that we can claim as ours. It's shameful. Well, as a black man, I'm ashamed of that, and I want to do something about it. And I want to empower our people, and I want us to get involved, and I want us to make a difference. So my brothers, AfriCanaVillage.com, go to our website, check it out, send us an email. We have a beautiful architectural rendering of what this project will look like. And support us. It's for you. It's a legacy that we all should be proud of and will be proud of, God willing. Thank you.